Let's take a look at the adidas Running Ultraboost 21. It's a $180 shoe launching January 28th on Adidas, February 4th globally. As usual, I'm going to give you all the details. Then I'm going to take them for a run where I'll give you the ride and fit impressions. And in a separate video, I'll compare them to the Nike Invincible Run and the Saucony Triumph 18. So please stay tuned. So this is Adidas's Max Cushion runner. It is quite a heavy shoe, actually. 12.7 ounces, 360 grams in a US 9. So it gains about an ounce over the UB20. However, you get a very maximum stack here, a big stack, 30.5 heel, 20.5 forefoot, according to Adidas, and I don't think that includes the sock liner, which adds another 5 millimeters. So it's comparable in stack height to the Nike Invincible Run. So it's a 10 millimeter drop shoe. It has 6% more boost capsules, according to Adidas, than the predecessor. And that makes for quite a bit of cushioning. The upper is what Adidas calls Prime Knit Plus. So you can see it's a stretchy mesh up front. The profile or the silhouette is quite low over the toes, although there is the stretch. I personally don't like kind of compressive knit over the toes, but we'll see how it runs. All the overlays are kind of a suede material. They're very soft. The only firm part is at the very front where the rubber rises. So it's a full kind of booty construction. We do have the cage, the plastic clear cage, which sometimes it caused problems for people. On try-on, it didn't seem to be any issue for me. We have at the rear a solid, if you will, quite pliable rear external heel counter. We have a kind of elf-shaped Achilles collar with nice stout padding on the inside. So the big changes really here are underfoot. But let's talk a little bit more about this upper. So it's prime blue, which is at least 50% recycled ocean plastic. This is a great initiative that Adidas has done really across their line with Parley for the Ocean, which recovers ocean plastic. So a lot of Adidas shoes, a great percentage, will now be made with this kind of recycled plastic. Now, underfoot, big significant things to talk about there. You'll note the yellow piece. That is LEP, or linear energy push. That is essentially the new form of torsion. You can see how much further forward it extends in the shoe, which makes the UB21 really a rocker-based ride, and that's what we're going to try to determine how well it works on the run. There is a lot of rubber here. The clear white is crystal rubber, as is the pink. Then up front we have and it's firm, very firm. And then up front through the middle of the forefoot we have a gray rubber, which is softer, somewhat softer, maybe a blown rubber. Then finally we have classic Continental rubber in a firm ring around the very front. So all of this is designed to stabilize boost, which tends to kind of be a little sloppy on the run. And here Adidas has really gone with a rocker type profile for this new version of the Ultraboost. And I think a wider platform, thus the weight increase we see. So I'm going to take them out for a run. I'm going to give you the fit impressions after a few miles, and as well as the ride impressions, and then going to make some comparisons. So please stay tuned. I took the Ultraboost 21 out for a first run along the New Hampshire coast, about 9:23 pace, a bit of a progression, and I had to stop to take this picture of this beautiful hawk. Okay, in terms of fit, true to size, no question. I was concerned about the toe and the mesh, kind of the knit squeezing down. Not really an issue. I actually wore a heavier pair of socks that seemed to pad things nicely. There is quite a bit of stretch to this mesh. You can see the Prime Knit Plus, so that was not an issue. Foot super well held. The rear collar's excellent. A little bit looser on my narrower right foot than my wider left, so this should favor wider feet. So there's a lot of support in this upper. The The cage wasn't noticed at all. It seems to provide the good midfoot support on both sides you need. So now let's talk a bit about the ride. I'm going to go back to the house for that. Let's talk about the ride, and then we'll do some comparisons to the Saucony Triumph 18 and the Nike Invincible Run. Okay, so the ride, the linear energy push, LEP, which is the plate, the yellow plate here. Adidas has described this very well. You feel a very nice, very gentle impulse starting right about where the plate starts to toe off. You've got a very long kind of rocker. It's very gentle, but it keeps the shoe moving along despite the weight, and we'll talk about that in a minute. The toe off is smooth, very consistent. The cushioning, wow, there is cushioning for days here, particularly at the heel. The heel is very stable, very well cushioned. A little heel heavy, I'd say. And despite the rocker, which kind of kicks you forward onto the LEP. The outsole in the mix here adds value, the crystal rubber, I think. It should prove very, very durable. But it also is, even though it's very firm to the touch, it doesn't add a harsh element. It sort of blends very well with the rest of the platform. And also, I think, because it surrounds really all around, there are no gaps on the outside, and you've got that wide forefoot, it provides great stability as well. So this is a very stable shoe. I think would be very suitable for folks who run in pronation control, mild pronation control. You'll get plenty of support. The straps weren't noticed. There's plenty of support here and stability without being a stability shoe. So in terms of the cushioning, well, it is really bottomless. There's plenty of that nice bouncy boost, which is kind of dense. Then that outsole in the mix. There's really cushion for days here, and it's only a shame, really, that it weighs 12.7 ounces, 360 grams in a US 9. Is kind of felt in the mix here. So what would I recommend it for? Excellent choice as a recovery run shoe. You won't be forcing the pace in this. You'll have plenty of protection. If you want a long run shoe that is highly cushioned, protective, it's a good choice because you'll be very consistent. You'll roll through that LEP very smoothly. The upper is comfortable for long runs, I think, despite that front kind of low profile. We do have plenty of stretch to the mesh. You will feel the weight though, and that's really the only knock I have on the ride of this shoe. That is felt, unfortunately. I wish Adidas would maybe try to think of putting Light Strike Pro, as in the adidas Pro, in the shoe. But it's also, I think, a really good shoe for the heavier runner who's hard on their shoes, who wants a lot of cushioning. Although it's quite pricey, it might be a good shoe for a beginner who wants a highly protective ride that has some excitement to it and that'll kind of keep them out of trouble. Very much for watching, and in our next video where we compare the Ultraboost 21 to the Nike Invincible Run and the Saucony Triumph 18, all super cushion trainers.